My name's David Schwartz. I'm the chief curator at the museum, and I'm very delighted to present 5 movies from the Weinstein Company. These movies, The Artist, My Week with Marilyn, W.E., The Iron Lady, Coriolanus, are all rooted in the history of the 20th century, but all are incredibly relevant and timely today.
W.E. tells the story of Wallis Simpson, the American socialite who created a worldwide scandal when she fell in love with the King of England. Their romance led to his abdication just at the outbreak of World War II.
I think as a woman, the story of Wallis Simpson is arrestingly familiar. I think possibly we might think that we've moved so far on in terms of female emancipation, but actually the realization that one's still pretty much entirely groomed to be swept away by a man on a white horse is a frightening one.
You know, Madonna and I co-wrote this, and she was really determined to make sure that for once her side of the story might be presented. So the letters became, you know, that primary source.
The Artist tells the story of a Hollywood star in the silent era who isn't ready for the transition to talkies. It is a great movie about love that reinvents silent movies for the modern day.
I think it's always easier to escape what you're going through in today's life to go to another time, another place, whether through icons like Marilyn or Wallis Simpson, people that you've heard about but that you don't know about, or to literally go to another period of time, even with Coriolanus, even though it's a modern day story, but it's clearly a story that is imbued with, you know, with William Shakespeare and stories and themes of the past that have been historically with us throughout time. And I think that when you can take 2 hours of your life, when times maybe aren't necessarily so great, and go into another world, it's much easier to immerse yourself and lose yourself as opposed to, as you and I talked about, 2 hours of this there.
The narrative is contemporary because the audience is creating it because of the unique way in which silent films engage the audience. So although the story is to some degree timeless and not much different really than Wallis Simpson or Margaret Thatcher, somebody resisting because of their pride and their inability to come to terms with what these changes might be, and the audience understands that. Of course, it's in a lighter tone, but it allows the audience to participate and engage.
During a time when America's president, Ronald Reagan, was a former movie actor, the British Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, was a conservative dynamo who was known as the Iron Lady.
When I took the screenplay to Meryl Streep, the first thing she said was not, I want to play Margaret Thatcher, but I've been looking for a project that deals with the end of things. So for her, you know, it was a story about a bigger thing, and because the films seem to be all about a bigger thing, hopefully they connect on not just a historical level, but a human one.
I don't expect to win the leadership, but I am going to run, just to shake up the party.
Coriolanus. The acclaimed actor Ralph Fiennes has updated the hero of one of William Shakespeare's most powerful and timely tragedies. Fiennes has made a Shakespeare adaptation that feels like it is ripped from today's headlines.
My feeling about approaching with trepidation and respect Mr. Shakespeare's work was, you know, the play's been around for 400 years, it'll be around for another 400 years, I can't fuck it up.
Marilyn Monroe was not just a movie star. Marilyn Monroe was an icon of the culture.
You know, Michelle Williams is like a co-ed on the UCLA campus who has like more books than anybody else. And, you know, she's got the Maurice Zolotal biography of Marilyn Monroe in 1956 or whenever the hell that came out while Marilyn was still active. And she quotes passages from it. And then she reads, like, for fun, Christopher Bigsby's Arthur Miller Volume 1, which is 1,000 pages, and then Volume 2, just for the dessert part, you know, another 1,000 pages on Arthur Miller. And then she read Time Bends, and she read, you know, the Kazan. And, I mean, so the studious approach, as, you know, that she takes to it, which is, I think, you know, certainly Andrea, who I know, and Meryl, I mean, you know, also, you know, are in that category.